What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 13. The truth always comes out. It doesn't. Let's start off with Michelle and David. So Carla and Juan were each hosting a boys' night and a girls' night. And so that's where Michelle and David's segment kind of sort of begins. So let's start there. So at Carla's girls' night, Michelle brings up to the rest of the girls the text message that David had accidentally sent to her. And Michelle says that the night he had sent that message, he was out with Madison, Carla, and I believe Allen was there as well. So she wanted to know basically what was going on that night that would have prompted him to send a text like that. Was he talking to another girl? Was he constantly on his phone texting somebody? Like, what happened that night that would make him want to send a text like that? Both Carla and Michelle played dumb. They're like, we don't know. We didn't see anything unusual. Carla said that she really wasn't there that long. Madison said that she was busy looking for her phone or her keys or something. She lost something and she was looking for that. So they really were not concentrating on what the hell was going on with David. But I thought it was very interesting that David and Madison, they work out together. They had been working out together since the honeymoon in Cancun. And now, they also socialized together. Of course, Alan was there, but still, um, I'm just making a note of the fact that David and Madison are around each other, it seems like quite a bit. So after that, Michelle, okay, Carlos, blah, 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 didn't know anything. So the next day, Michelle and David meet with Pastor Cal. So Michelle shows up first and she talks with Pastor Cal before David arrived. And she tells him about the text message and that David had admitted that not only does he communicate with other girls, several of them, but he also spends time with other women, like people that he met on these dating apps, people that he dated in the past, he still remained friendly with, and he'll go out for coffee with them or whatever. And of course, Pastor Cal was like, that's really unacceptable. So David joins them, and the first thing that they talk, well, first of all, when David joined them, um, they got right down to it. I thought they started talking about something else, but no, I think they got right down to it. They got down to the text message. They were talking about the text message, and David is sticking to his story that he had meant to send it to his cousin because his cousin sent him a picture of a plate of food. And so he was responding to the plate of food. He was not communicating with any girls or anything like that. And Pastor Cal says that Michelle, her parents, divorced over infidelity. So I guess he was trying to let David know that if you even think about cheating on her, you're going to be awakening this, trauma in her. And you as her husband, you need to be protective of her feelings, her emotions, her heart. So if you do anything regarding infidelity in any capacity, no matter how light you think it is, it's going to trigger something in Michelle. And Michelle, her bringing up the fact that her parents divorced over infidelity, she's laying it on real thick. I understand that that's a very, sensitive area for her. It's a very hurtful topic for her. But I don't think that I don't think anybody believes that Michelle really cares about David seeing somebody else or cheating on her or talking to other women. So her bringing up the fact, oh, my parents, divorced over infidelity and this is going to trigger me and I'm going to go through all this trauma. Girl, no, you're not. No, you're not, because you don't care about David in that way. You don't care enough about him or this marriage to have anything trigger you. This is just about the fact that she doesn't like him. She's tired of being picked on by everybody else and made to feel like there's something wrong with her because she doesn't want to date somebody who lives in their parents' basement. And so she just wants to turn the tables on him. I don't think that she's going through anything traumatic. I don't think anything is triggering her. She's just really activated right now because she thinks that finally, the heat is off of me and the spotlight is on him, and we're all going to make him feel bad and look bad because everybody's making me feel bad that I don't want to marry someone or stay married to someone who is not up to par according to her. So David says, no, she didn't tell me that her parents had divorced over infidelity. Yeah, because she doesn't care enough to talk about, deep things like that with him. So he's like, no, I had no idea. And he talked about how he felt really bad about that. And they talk about David meeting a girl that he used to date for coffee. And his defense is that, yes, we used to date, and I met up with her for coffee whenever, the other day. But it's no big deal because she's dating someone. So it's not like me and her are hooking up or anything like that. She's in a whole relationship with somebody else. And Pastor Cal was like, it doesn't even matter, David. It doesn't matter that she's with another person, that she's dating, has a boyfriend, or married to somebody else. The fact is, you are spending your time and energy on another woman, and you are a married man. So whether y'all are meeting up as friends or anything other than that, it really doesn't matter. The whole thing looks bad. The whole thing is making you look bad. And so Pastor Cal suggests that, okay, so Pastor Cal is like, it seems like, when they go back to the text message, Pastor Cal said, it seems like you're hiding something. You're not being very upfront with us. You're not being very truthful with us. And he suggests that, what about asking asked his cousin to send Michelle. So he suggests, what about asking your cousin to send the picture? Like, what's wrong with having your cousin send the picture of the plate of food to Michelle? And David says that this whole thing has been really hard for him. Then he got kind of defensive. At this particular point, David got defensive. And he was like, y'all don't understand what I've been going through. She's constantly, judging me and criticizing me. I'm feeling rejected by her. So now he's beginning to talk about how difficult it has been for him to be married to Michelle. This whole time, he really hasn't said anything. Up until now, up until the text message incident, he's been going with the flow. He's been trying to make it do with her. He's been trying to be as accommodating as possible with her, still being very gentle with her. As hard as she had been on him, he was constantly still being very gentle with her, very caring with her. Now that he got caught red-handed doing something that he shouldn't be doing, now he's like, well, you don't understand what I've been going through. She's been awful to me. She's constantly judging me, putting me down, rejecting me, etc. And Pastor Cal says that through all of that, whatever issues that they have been going through, however Michelle has been feeling about him and his living situation, and how she's been rejecting him, and how she hasn't been the nicest to him, through all of that, Pastor Cal says she still is leaving the door open for you. I'm like, what door? Where and how? What are you talking about? She's leaving the door open for herself to get the hell on out of there and not look back. I don't think she's leaving the door open for any possibility of them really building on anything in this relationship. So I was kind of like, Pastor Cal, like, what are you talking about that she has been leaving the door open for him? She went and bought him some clothes, okay? Or I don't know if she bought them or he bought them or the show bought them, but she went and wanted to spruce up his wardrobe because she got sick and tired of him always wearing his wife beaters and his shorts and stuff. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. That just means that when she goes out and about, she wants him to look a certain way because she thinks that he's representative of her. But that's not leaving the door open for anything. Every time they do anything together, she does it reluctantly. And then when they go out somewhere together, she is constantly looking at him, with her really critical eyes. You know how she looks at him like he is just the worst piece of dog poop in the world sitting across from her. That's how she looks at him. So I don't know where she's been leaving any kind of door open for them to strengthen their bond or their relationship. But Michelle, she went along with Pastor Cal and she was like, I've been leaving the door open for him. Pastor Cal said that they need to communicate more, get down to the bones of it, get down to the nitty gritty of what's really going on between them. Pastor Cal asked David to take out his phone because he basically wants David to pull up the text thread from his cousin that showed the communication between them about the food and him saying whatever he said, you look so fine, I want to eat you up. He wanted him to pull out his phone and show the entire thread between him and his cousin. David was like, hell to the no, I'm not doing that. I am not going to do that. He said that he did not want to get his cousin involved. And Pastor Cal said, you got your cousin involved already by using her as a scapegoat, basically, as by using her as your accomplice. So you're the one that got your cousin involved. You brought her into this. So when they left, so they leave, they're outside on the sidewalk, they're talking, and David was trying to ask her questions about, how was girls' night with Carla and everybody else? What did y'all do? Did you have a good time? And Michelle was basically like, you know what, forget all that. Why don't you want to get your cousin involved? What is wrong with asking your cousin to show the text thread, or for your or what is wrong with getting your cousin involved? Me asking her exactly what went down or whatever. And he was like, because I don't want to. I don't want to. I just don't want to. And she basically was like, I know that you're lying. If you want to prove that you're not lying, just show me the phone. Just show me the text messages between you and your cousin. And he was like, no, I'm not doing that. No. He was really adamant about it. And then she was like, okay, fine. Then that just proves that you're a liar. And then she walked away. This whole scene was bad. It was bad because David, it's like, don't you have enough sense to know that nobody believes you? Don't you have enough sense to know that what you're saying is stupid and idiotic? Forget the fact that you're communicating with somebody else. Okay, forget the fact that this may or may not be seen as you cheating or stepping out on your marriage or doing something, that you're not supposed to be. Forget that. Forget about the fact that you got caught and you feel like you have to lie about it. Forget that. I mean, this is all, it's not justifiable, but it's understandable. My issue with David, above all else, is why are you saying such a stupid lie? That's my issue with David. You're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. You got caught. You're lying about it to cover your tracks. But why this particular lie? Why this lie? I mean, I just don't understand. I don't get it. Like, some people might say this is, it probably proves that he's not someone who's used to lying, because he's lying so bad. He's doing a horrible job at lying. Maybe he's just not used to it, and that's why it's coming off looking like this. I don't know. But David, why this type of lie? It's so unbelievable. Like, I'm very disappointed in you that this is the best that you could come up with. We find out later that Michelle ended up moving out. She is not staying at the shared apartment. Later on, we see Michelle calling Denise. She calls cousin Denise, and Denise confirms what we all knew, that there was no plate of food that she sent to David. There was no exchange about food at all whatsoever. She does tell Michelle that David had contacted her and wanted her to lie for him, to basically cover for him. And at first she was going to go along with it because that's her cousin. But later on, I guess when she realized how stupid it sounded, she was like, no, I'm not going to be involved in anything like that. And so she tells Michelle that I don't condone what he did. I don't agree with what he did at all. I don't like it. And I did not want to get involved with that. At the after party, David was there along with Madison and Juan. And David said that he is definitely not cheating. He said that he probably did step out emotionally. Now, let's talk about that. Nobody can fault David for feeling the way he feels, rejected and downtrodden, and, being with a woman that can't stand the sight of him, who takes every opportunity to make him feel worse and worse and worse every chance she gets. We can sympathize with David on that level. We can totally, totally sympathize with David. He doesn't have to put up with that. But, and him wanting to find comfort in somebody else, at this point, we're going to act like we don't know who that somebody else is. But him wanting to find, some type of solace and peace and acceptance in the arms of another woman, okay, fine. We get it. We understand. But the way you went about it is just not right. You should have just ended it with Michelle, and moved out and just told her, hey, you don't like me. I'm beginning to not like you because I keep trying with you and you keep rejecting me. So I'm out. Okay. You don't even have to tell her that you found somebody else or whatever. Just say, I'm out. This is over. I'm ending it. I don't know what we have to do after this. I don't want to be in this marriage with you. That's what he should have done. instead of pretending to try to make it work with her and communicating with other people or with somebody else. That's the part that, it's like, okay, no, that doesn't make any sense, and that's not right. You feeling the way you feel from how she treated you, valid. You feeling like, you know what, I can be happier somewhere else with somebody else, because we're pretending we don't know who it is yet. But once, if it is who I think it is, and that's wrong too, that you're finding solace in another man's wife, that's wrong. But if it was a single chick and you're like, hey, or one of your old flames, and you're like, hey, I'd rather be spending my time with her than spending my time with you, we get it. But you got to end it first with Michelle. The feelings that you're having are valid. But the way you went about it is just absolutely wrong. David said that the fact that Michelle kept badgering him about, who are you texting, who is that, blah blah blah, that she only did it because she was curious, not because she cares about saving the relationship or she cares about how he feels. He said that at some point Michelle had told him, I really don't care. I don't care that you're seeing somebody else. I just want to know who it is, or whatever the issue was, whatever she wanted to know. He was basically like, don't let her fool you. Don't let her acting hurt on this camera fool you into making you think that I did something to really hurt her. She is not hurt. The girl could care less. And I believe that. I don't think she cares. I think that she's just using this as ammunition to try to make him look as bad as she thinks he should look in front of everybody else. She just wants us to look at him the way she looks at him, as someone who's just not worthy of her at all. So I understand. I believe that when he said that Michelle Lee doesn't care. I don't think she cares. Um, he said that Michelle, at the after party, he said that Michelle does not deserve to know the truth. And Keisha Knight Paulian didn't like that. Keisha Knight Paulian said that she was disappointed with David because up until this point, she saw him as a very stand-up guy, which we all did. Now, let me just make a little side note, a little footnote here. I saw nothing wrong with Michelle seeing something wrong with him living in his parents' basement. I didn't see anything wrong. I understand that they were not going to move into the basement if they did decide to stay married after decision day. I understand that they were going to get their own place, or he was going to move in with her. He was not going to drag that girl to his parents' basement. I understand that. But I know that when you come on a show like this, you have certain expectations. And they have put people through who had no business being on this show for whatever reason. There was that one season, I can't remember their name. He was Asian, she was Asian. He did not work. He didn't have a job. He claimed that he was living off of his savings and investments or something, but he didn't have a job. And that really bothered his wife. I think it was Houston. Was it Houston? I don't remember. But they were both Asian. And she was really perturbed by the fact that this man did not get up and go to work every day. And he kept on trying to reassure her, hey, but I have money. I've got savings. I've got this and that going on. I don't have to go to a job, like every day. He was not working. It wasn't like he was working from home, working remotely, or anything like that. He did not have a job. And he had been traveling. I think before he got on the show, he was traveling the country or something. And then he got picked for the show and he still wasn't working. And she was so bothered by that. So you have certain expectations. Like, you can at least give me someone who is working and is independent and has their own place. And a lot of people are like, well, he is independent. He's paying to live in his parents' basement. He's paying them rent. Whatever. I understand her feeling the way she felt. I just do not agree with her berating him for it. If it bothered you that much, Michelle, you should have just left. You can just leave. They can't hold you hostage on this show. You could have left. But you didn't want to leave. You wanted to stay. And if you were going to stay, treat him kindly. Treat him kindly and work with him. This man, I feel like David did want to be with her. And I think he would have done anything to be with her if she was reciprocating some of the feelings that he had. If she was, trying to make it work the way he was trying to make it work, he would have ditched that basement, gotten his own place, or found a better place for the two of them. So he really would have stepped up to the plate if she was a little bit kinder. But she was just being a total, what to him every day, constantly. And I did not agree with that. Okay, I went off on a tangent. So, because so Keisha Not Pulliam says, up until now I thought you were a really stand-up guy, but seeing you lying to her and you communicating with another female, at least one other female, possibly multiple females, yeah, it's not a good look. Juan says that he said it's not right as well. He was like, yeah, what you're doing is just isn't right. Keisha Not Pulliam asked him, are you still in this marriage? And David said 50-50. He's in it 50-50. Really? You're still in this 50, it should be 0-0. Like, what are you talking about? You're still in this marriage. You're finding, you're communicating with somebody else. This woman is treating you horribly. She's using this just to make you look bad, but you're still in this 50-50. Okay. They showed the clip of Michelle calling Denise, and David said that his cousin was very disappointed in him. And he apologized on camera to his cousin for dragging her into this mess. And then Keisha Not Pulliam asked Madison for her thoughts. And Madison said that, yeah, this is a really tough situation. And I think that David and Michelle, they need to have like a very, very tough discussion, a very tough conversation. I really hope that my gut is wrong and that it's not Madison. I really, truly hope that it's not Madison, because y'all standing on Keisha Not Pulliam, sitting on Keisha Not Pulliam's stage, lying through y'all's teeth about this it's really sickening. Let's move on to Madison and Allen. So Dr. Pia, okay, so they meet up with Dr. Pia. And, Dr. Pia is the intimacy expert, and she is trying to, kind of like gauge how are y'all doing intimately or intimacy wise. And, they're like, yeah, we're open to it and we're trying or whatever. So she's trying to gently nudge them into getting a little bit closer. And of course, what did she suggest? Some type of game, some type of provocative game. I forgot what it was called. I think it was called Just the Tip. I think it was called whatever. Yeah. So she suggested him to play some naughty game. So, they just, so her box came, her box with the game in it. It came, and they played the game. And when they play these, these Dr. Pia games that are supposed to make them more intimate, that are supposed to like, get them in the mood or whatever, Madison and Allen is just so like cold. It's so cold. There's like nothing there between them at all remotely to show that they have any kind of chemistry between them. You can see that Allen, with his puppy dog eyes, he is hoping and waiting for something to start off between them. And Michelle, she just keeps giggling like she's so nervous, like she feels really awkward doing these things with him. Like this is just so unnatural for her because she has zero attraction for this man. And so when they were playing the Just the Tip game and asking each other provocative questions and what, yeah, it was just dull. It was really dull. So they started off fine, and then after they got done with the game, it was going well until David put his damn foot. I mean, not David, until Allen put his foot in his mouth. If I was saying David, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Allen and Madison now. So Allen starts off by saying that, when I first met you, I had I had a very wrong impression of you because I thought that you were like, I thought sex for you was going to be very transactional. I think, no, what did he say? He says, you seem like the kind of girl where you treat sex as being very transactional. And, you kind of came off as like the party girl. But now that I've gotten to know you, I know that you're not like that at all. And that it wouldn't be transactional for you. And that, you're very serious and blah, 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 blah. She was stuck on transactional. She was stuck on transactional. And she was like, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, because, on the dance floor, you're sticking your butt out, dancing and everything like that. I just had the wrong impression of you when I first met you. Which I thought it was weird for him to say that because when he first met her, he was very attracted to her. He was really happy that they matched him with her. If he thought that she was somebody who took sex very lightly and it was very transactional for her and that she was just some party girl, well, so you're saying that's your type then? Because you were very attracted to her, Alan, when you first saw her, when you first met her. You thought she was the bee's knees Okay. So I was very confused about him saying that about her. Or was he like, okay, I got me a loose transactional party girl and I'm happy with this. Maybe maybe that's his type. I don't know. I don't know why Alan said that. And it was the wrong time to say it because he just got done playing this intimacy game where they're supposed to be getting closer. And then he says something like this and it killed I don't even think there was a mood. I don't think there was a mood. It killed something. It killed whatever the safe, friendly atmosphere that they were in. It killed it. So she was offended and she thought transactional meant like, a prostitute. You exchange your goods for money, exchange your services for money. Transaction. That's what she was thinking. And I don't think he meant that. I think he meant that for her, it's like, this is just what you do when you're dating someone or when you're with a guy. This is just what you do. Like she doesn't take it that seriously. It's like, okay, I'm out on a date, he's cute, he thinks I'm cute, and if he wants to, then we'll go ahead and no big deal. I think that's more like what he meant. I don't think he meant, I think you're a hooker, I think you're a prostitute, I think you exchange services for money. I don't think that's what he meant, but that's how she took it, because on the after party she was like, he's basically calling me a hooker. So when it killed the mood completely. And um he felt bad and there was no way to get out of it. He dug himself into such a deep hole he couldn't get out of it. And so he decided to take the dog out for a walk. And when he left the apartment, she got emotional and she started crying. And she was talking to the producers and she was telling the producers that this is what she's been fighting her whole life. The stereotype that people have of her because of her looks, that she's just some floozy and that she's not to be taken seriously and that, she's just a sexual object. And so at the workplace, she's constantly had to prove herself. In her relationships, she's always having to prove herself that she is a woman of substance and that she can't be taken advantage of and that she can't just be looked over as just another pretty face, no big deal, no brains, just a pretty face. And so it bothered her that he said that. Now, because of what I'm suspecting, that, she's also seeing David on the side, I don't know if all of this emotion was real or if she was just trying to put 20 on 10 and really try to milk the moment to make Alan look really bad. So I felt like if I give her the benefit of the doubt, yeah, I do feel like what he said was wrong. I understand where he was coming from. I don't think he said it to be mean, obviously, because he really likes her. He's not trying to hurt her feelings or be mean to her. Not at all. I think he was just trying to make a point of, um, I've gotten to know you, and I think that you are a very solid person. And I like you as much as I like you because I've gotten to know you, and you've really blew my mind on what a great person you are. You were so different from what I expected. He probably thought that he got some blonde floozy with no substance, and then he got a very accomplished, intelligent woman, and he was just happy to find out that this is who she really is. But it just came out all wrong. So, okay, he had a valid point. So when he came back from walking the dog, later on that night, she left. She took her phone and she told him that she was going to go make a call, go check on her friend Amanda. And at 1 a.m., she still wasn't back. And then, because Alan was doing a video diary. So he was like, it's 1 a.m. She's still not back yet. She's still on the phone with Amanda. She's still on the phone with Amanda. And he was like, basically he was blaming himself. He was kind of like basically saying that, I understand why she doesn't want to come back. I really made her feel bad. I did wrong. And she probably needed to spend time with her friend and maybe they went out for drinks or something. The next day, Madison says in her video diary that Alan basically called her a hooker. She was like, yeah, he was basically calling me a hooker. And that what he said to her really set them back. They were making a little bit of progress. And now, they're back to square one. And I was like, did y'all think? I just want to know, did anybody out there think that that's what he was trying to say, that she was a hooker? Alan shows up. So the next day or whatever day it is, she's working out and Alan shows up at the gym. It made it seem like he showed up unexpectedly, but I'm pretty sure it was all planned because they're both mic'd up. So he shows up at the gym and he wants to know how she's doing. He's checking on her. And she talks about how hurt she was because it felt like he was judging her. He said that he felt the same way. He felt judged when she said that he was a pushover. When they were in Mexico on their honeymoon, she had called him a pushover and he felt judged. And she was like, well, Alan, that's different. That's different. It's not the same thing. And he was basically trying to make a point that, hey, you said something that hurt my feelings, but we got through it. So I'm just hoping that, I'm sorry for what I said, but we can still try to get through this. And she got really defensive and she accused him of coming into the gym, guns blazing, just trying to attack her. She was like, you just came in here with your guns blazing and you just wanted to attack me. No, he did not want to attack her. He wanted to have a conversation with her because Alan, even though he says something really foolish, at the end of the day, he's an adult and he knows how to communicate and he knows how to use his words. And so he was just trying to placate the situation by having a conversation with her and talking this out. So he apologized to her and he said that even though he said something really awful and he was really sorry for it, what was the excuse of her coming home at 3 o'clock in the morning? And she says, well, at least I came home. I was like, no, wrong answer. No, 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 no. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You're acting like you did him a favor by showing up at all, by coming home at all. And he should just be happy with that. And if you're putting up this front that you want to make this marriage work. So no, you cannot tell your husband that you're acting as if you want this to work with him. You cannot sit here and tell him, well, at least I came home. It don't matter when I came home. At least I came home. We wouldn't accept Alan telling her that. And we're for sure not going to accept her telling him that. So he said that, well, it seems like you're very sensitive. Because you storm out, you leave, you stay out, you don't come back until, 3 o'clock in the morning. And she said, well, the sensitivity comes from me caring. If I didn't care, then your words wouldn't hurt me as much. Okay, that's a decent comeback. So then she's so upset about it. She walks off and she leaves. She ends up going back to the apartment because we see him coming back home and she's already there. He tells her how much he really cares for her and that he says, I don't love you yet, but I have love for you. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh my God, Alan is pouring his heart out to this woman. And I pray to God, I pray to God that it is not Madison that's cheating on him. I pray to God that it is not Madison that David is having his late night pillow talks with. I pray to God that it's not David that she runs off to go meet and stays out with until 3 o'clock in the morning. Because I think Michelle is also having the same issue with David coming home, late or not at all. So I'll pray that it is not Madison because this man is on this television, on this show, pouring his whole heart out, trying to make this work, being very vulnerable with her, putting all his cards out on the damn table. Y'all, I hope it's not Madison, but my gut tells me that it could be. So very concerned about her. He doesn't love her, but he has love for her. He says, whenever you're out late, I worry about you. I'm concerned about you, which tells me that she's up to no good because if she really was out with Amanda and they were like having drinks or whatever because she's just trying to, cool off a little bit, she should send him a text and say, hey, I know it's getting late. I'm out here with Amanda. We're fine. I'll be back in about an hour. Just, I just need some time with my friend. You could have the human decency to do that because this man is staying up late worrying about her. She says that she's not mad about what he said and that, he's been super open. She's been super open with him and that she's been really honest with him. And they come to an understanding and they hug it out. At the after party, they show the clip of when Alan said that, it was, she seemed like someone who takes sex as like something transactional. And Keisha Napoleon asked what happened after that conversation. And she said that she went out and she hung out with her friend until about 2 or 3 a.m. And Keisha Napoleon said, well, when he just told you that, you're kind of like a party, he thought initially that you were like this party girl. When he just told you that you kind of give off party girl vibes when he first met you, You going out with your girl and not coming back until 3 o'clock in the morning, the conversation got boring. Um, you kind of feed into that stereotype. You fit into that party girl image. And Madison didn't have anything to say. Because what could she say? What could she say to that? When Christian Napoleon reprimands you, you listen and you don't argue. Moving on to Imam and Andi. So Imam and Andi have decided they're going to go back to just dating. They're not going to, go full force into this marriage thing, even though they're on a show called Married at First Sight, and they knew exactly what they were getting into. Andi more so than Imam, because Imam is ready to move forward with the marriage. If there's bumps in the road, there's bumps in the road. But with Andi, he's like, let's scale it back and let's go back to dating. Even though you signed up and you followed this show around cross country, okay, to be on a show where you can be married at first sight right away, okay? You were a groupie of this show. You stalked this show to be married to a stranger upon meeting them. And now you're talking about let's scale it back and let's go back to dating. We can scale it all the way back and you can go back home single. How about that? So they meet up for ice cream. And while they're talking, she notices that I'm sorry. Before we get there, they're talking and Ikechi tells her that he's going to be going back to Houston for his college's homecoming. And he mentions to Imam, I can't wait to see my mom. I'm really looking forward to see my mom. And Imam says, oh, I would love to meet your mom. And Ikechi says, well, if you like, and I thought he was going to say, I could take you with me. But instead he says, if you like, I could text you in the morning. That's what he said. So then he pulls out a deck of cards. Okay, whatever. So lame. He pulls out a deck of cards. And she notices as he's, dealing the cards, she notices that he is not wearing his wedding ring. And he says that he took it off while he was washing dishes and he forgot to put it back on. Once again, the lies they tell, the lies they tell. That's a very plausible explanation for anybody who showed any interest of being married. Very plausible explanation. Took it off washing dishes, took it off when I took a shower, took it off when I went to sleep. Very plausible. But coming out of his mouth, it's a damn lie. Okay? It's a goddamn lie coming out of Ikechi's mouth. Because he's shown every step of the way he is not interested in being married to her. Why he's still here, why he's still staying, I don't know. This show cannot hold you hostage. They cannot punish you or penalize you for wanting to leave a situation that you consider to be extremely toxic because you said that this woman was basically making you feel uncomfortable. She was violating your space and violating your boundaries and was very aggressive with you sexually. So no show would tell you, well, you can leave, but then, you're going to owe us some money if you walk away from this call. I don't think so. He could leave if he feels this uncomfortable and he feels, this disgusted by her. He could leave, but no, he's still here. So Imam, she moves back to her own apartment. Later on, we find out that she left the married apartment and she moved back into her own apartment. And she's having a conversation on the phone with Dr. Pia on her beautiful balcony. And she is talking about how things are not working out. They've both moved out of the apartment. And Dr. Pia acts very confused. Like, well, the last time that we met, y'all had promised to communicate better and try to make it work. And she was like, I promised that. He did not live up to that promise. He's the one that's flaking out on me. I want this to work. He's the one that's flaking out on me. So she tells Dr. Pia they really have not had any kind of substantive communication since they met with her. She tells Dr. Pia that Ikechi is back home in Houston for his college's homecoming. Dr. Pia says, do you want to call and check on him? Dr. Pia, have you met Ikechi? Does he seem like somebody who would welcome a phone call from Imam? Imam's like, no, I'm good on that. Thanks, but no thanks, because I know how he is, whenever I try to reach out in any kind of way, and I'm just not mentally ready. I'm not mentally prepared to deal with all of that hostility. So I'm going to pass on calling up my husband and checking on him. Carla and Juan. Carla plans a girls' night. Okay, so we talked about that. The girls' night, the boys' night, blah, blah, blah. By the way, Ikechi was not there for boys' night. He wasn't there. Dr. Pia comes over to talk to Carla and Juan, and she talks about how did it go when y'all met with Carla's parents, because that was a big deal. Because Carla was like, I don't want anybody to meet my parents unless they're worthy. And so at some point, she determined that Juan was worthy, and they had dinner at her parents' house. Juan talked about how great it was. The food was delicious. He talked about the food ad nauseum until Dr. Pia was like, can we circle back to how was it meeting her parents? And he says it went well. Her parents were extremely welcoming. Her whole family was welcoming, and everything went really, really well. And Dr. Pia asked them, do you feel more like a married couple now that you've met each other's families? And they both were like, well, yeah, we're getting there. Dr. Pia questioned Carla because Carla had been posting pictures on her social media. I'm assuming during this process. I really wasn't quite clear like when she was going out with these people and posting these pictures. So I don't know if these pictures were recent or if they were old pictures in her phone that she decided to post now after she got married to Juan. I really wasn't sure, but there are pictures that she was putting online of her grinding on, I'm assuming her male friends, having a good time out there with her guy friends. I'm assuming that's what it was. I don't think it was an old boyfriend, or I don't know what was going on, but she was grinding on some dude, right? And she posted the damn picture. And so Dr. Pia was like, what's up with all of that? And she was like, well, you know me, I like to have a good time. And then Dr. Pia says, well, why don't you, where are your pictures of you grinding on Juan, grinding on your own husband? And Carla says, I'm down. He's the one that's holding out. I try to be flirtatious with him. I try to get closer to him. He's the one that's holding out on me. So, of course, Dr. Pia was like, I can fix that for you. So she suggests for them to do tantric yoga, okay, which is like this really intimate form of yoga where two people are doing the yoga positions together. And it's a way for y'all to like spiritually bond and your souls bond. And it's whatever. It's very up close and personal. And y'all are supposed to like get in these really uncomfortable positions in order to break down that barrier and get y'all to be closer. So, okay, she sends over somebody's grandmother in her lingerie and no underwear because at the after party, I think Juan said the old lady didn't have on any underwear. So they send over somebody's grandmother to help them with the tantric yoga. So they go through some positions. You can tell that Juan is not taking this seriously at all. When he was laying back on the floor and Grandma Lingerie and Carla were like running, like running the roses over his body or touching his body with these roses, it was just bad. It was bad. It was so bad. Juan was probably like, what the hell is going on? If nothing else, this is going to be very, very comedic for the audience, for the viewers. Okay, so he didn't take it seriously. So when Grandma Lingerie left, he wanted to try some of the positions or some of the exercises with Carla. And so he told Carla to lay down on the floor, and then he got the rose and he was rubbing the rose up and down her body. But he was being really silly about it. He was being so silly about it. And she was like, you're supposed to take this serious. He can't because he's not attracted. I don't know what's going on with Juan, but Juan, you know how little boys will treat little girls that they actually like, but they'll like pull on their ponytails and they'll like basically just torment them. That's how I see Juan treating Carla. Like, she wants something more mature. She wants to, work on bonding and developing their relationship and getting closer. And he's just, you know, poking at her. He doesn't take anything with her seriously at all when it comes to intimacy. And it's not because he really likes her. It's just like he's just not interested. He is so not interested in Carla. And the thing is, these are two very attractive people. If they had that attraction and that chemistry, it'd probably be married at first sight, very first pregnancy announcement. pregnancy announcement before decision day. I promise you. But instead, he is so cold towards her. So cold. When it comes to like intimacy, he's cold. Anywho, yeah, that was a big fail. Camille and Thomas, they're doing fine. They're doing super fine. What do I have to say about Camille and Thomas? I can't say too much because I got the youngins here, but yeah, they're doing fine. That's all I can say. They're doing just fine. Um, Thomas says that he likes it when Camille initiates intimacy, and he says he's very much a giver, and he talks about how he gives, and I guess he gives very well. But he would like for her to give back to him the way he gives to her. And she said, well, an act like that is something that I would reserve once we're a little bit further down the road in our relationship. And he was like, well, as long as there is a light at the end of the tunnel, honey, I'm willing to wait. And so, yeah, they're doing fine. Maybe they'll be our first pregnancy announcement before decision day because they are definitely getting it on and popping. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it on your way out. Please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.